Hello, I'm Dr. Ruth Roberts. Hope you are well. We've got, thanks for joining on today, and I've got several great questions from y'all. So I'm going to pop over to the Facebook page so we can start there. And May was asking about flea control, and I suggested Wonderside and then the shoe tags, which I think I finally have it through my head. It's called O-Bug Zone. And yes, with any of the natural flea control products, you're going to need to use them pretty close to a daily basis when things are bad. And Becky, I think, is down in your neck of the woods, May, there where she had to use Advantage for a month because things kind of got bad. And then the other thing I talked about too last week was the Fleabusters COM for products that you can use to treat the environment to get rid of the eggs and larvae that are not toxic to you. Now, the other thing, so here's the O-Bug Zone, and I'll put this link in there. These are really interesting. So they used to be called shoe tags, and they seem to create some sort of electromagnetic frequency that keeps the bugs off. And I had clients that absolutely swore by them. And I guess they have different types of tags, but they put them in a multi-pack. So the one codicil to this is if your pup has had any seizures, you do want to be cautious, because I have seen them make the seizure threshold drop to the point where the dog started to seize again. So there's a link to that. And then the other thing is that don't forget the blog. So on our website, drruthroberts.com, under Pet Advice, we've got several different blogs we've written about flea control and things of that nature to avoid. And as Erin mentioned somewhere in here in the response, she uses a Seresto collar because, and I think that it's sort of the least toxic out of all of the stuff that's out there. But that does a great job for fleas and ticks as well. And sometimes in the southeast, you just need something. So if Advantage is still working, great. The other thing is that if you're going to the vet's office and you need something, to kind of clean things off, don't forget about Capstar. And if you're not familiar with that, it is a tablet that you give, and it starts working in about, I think it's 2 hours or something like that. But the thing that's neat about it is that it seems to have very few effects on the pets themselves, but it kills every adult flea that's on them. That's on the pet, whether it's dog or cat. So it starts working in 30 minutes, all that good stuff, and just is good for about 24 hours. So if you're going into a situation where you know your pet's going to be exposed to fleas, this is not a bad solution either. And it treats all sorts of other good stuff like maggots, and I wish that had been known in my younger years of practice, because those things just skeeve me out. So check that out. There's Capstar. And so I hope that helps. We'll pop back over to Facebook. And so hopefully, May, that gets you some help. And this is the weird thing. So you're in Florida, and we think, oh, the fleas are bad in summer. But no, actually, they're worse in the fall when it starts to cool down in the southeast, because it's too hot for them. And then Anya is asking about Yucca shagrata, and it's in a lot of supplements. I have never seen it as a single-use supplement or as the primary of an anti-inflammatory. But, this is some information about it. It had been used as a remedy for controlling inflammation and things of that nature. Evidently, it's very high in resveratrol, which is a great antioxidant in and of itself. So it's kind of interesting. So Anya, I think you everybody is different. And so what I would do is try a product, and there's a ton of them out there. And I would try it for Zoe. I think you could try, I would start with a quarter dose. So, Now Foods, any of these. I would start with a quarter of the dose listed on the label. And for Zoe's size, probably half a dose to see if that helps with the inflammation. Now, one of the other things, and actually I knew I was going to speak with you about this tomorrow, one of the other things I've been experimenting with is ginseng and black ginger, because they evidently have both profound anti-inflammatory effects and are immunoregulating. So for people that have fibromyalgia, like I do, or chronic autoimmune type disease, evidently they've been very helpful. And so I've been taking them now for a month, and as well as a high dose of kyolic garlic extract. And I have to believe they are actually helping. They helped quite a bit. The other thing is that in Mexico, you can walk into a drugstore and buy metformin, and that's been touted as a treatment for fibromyalgia, weirdly, and kind of everything else. A lot of the biohackers really love it because it helps improve cognitive function. That's something I have to read about in dogs. I don't know if it's safe to use in dogs or not, and probably in most of the Western countries you can't simply walk into a drugstore and get it. But here it's ridiculously cheap. The other thing you can walk into a drugstore and get are fluids. So the whole schmeal, line sets, needles, the bags of fluids. We've been having to treat Mona, as I have mentioned, and so that's been a real benefit. To be able to just walk in and take care of that. Unfortunately, they don't have Serenia, but that's okay. I think the vets can help with that, and she seems to not need it at the moment, which is wonderful. And Lolly is talking about her poor Bogey. Yeah, let's hope for famous and well. This is really curious, and I'm interested to know how they're going to do this. Hopefully they can do it via endoscopy and just go through the the ureter, instead of having to actually open him up. But if it's a fairly large mass, that may not be possible. And that is weird if they only got out fat and blood. So that really kind of makes me wonder if there was just some sort of a embolic process going on that created this horrible mass. So fingers crossed for you, Lolly. Hopefully everything comes out well. And Sri, you're welcome. Hopefully the D-Manos is helpful for Cece. And then poor Jamie, Willie is just not catching a break. This place on his, yeah. So the biopsy should be fairly simple for lymphoma and should be fairly quick to get back. And hopefully you get, you can do a fine needle aspirate really for biopsy. And I'm wondering if what's happening is the Apoquel runs out and then things just explode. Does that make any more sense, Jamie? Because sometimes that does happen too. Those drugs are, we keep things under control for a while. The other thing you may, if you're using I can't remember if you were using Cytopoint or not, but I think that's probably a better option than Apoquel. But yeah, keep your mind in in as positive a place as you can, and keep your head up. I know it's scary to wait, so we're all there with you, and hopefully you get great results. And then Kathy was asking about Daisy's vomiting and things of that nature. And phosphorus, I'm not sure why phosphorus, unless you're speaking of a homeopathic remedy, but if you're saying 200 milligrams, probably not. Nux vomica, yes. I wouldn't give more phosphorus. That doesn't make sense to me. And it is possible that it is a parasite, and it's also possible that her liver and her gallbladder is angry again, and it's also possible that she just still has quite some really gnarly maldigestion. So sounds like you're back to LA from Denver, and hopefully that's good now that the fires are out. And Sita's had great success talking with Dr. Z there at that hospital, so I take her suggestion. And sorry she's getting worse, so Kathy, keep us posted on how she's doing. Oh, that's right, Cytopoint quit working. Dang. God, I wish I was smarter. I just, and this may be something we can talk about too, Jamie, is this, because again, we're looking at a quasi-autoimmune disease, but looking at kyolic and the red ginseng and black ginger. So I'll reach out to you and to kind of give you a dosing regimen once I make sure that everything is safe for these guys. And then Susie's saying that Goldie's lost some teeth and has one broken tooth, so she's only wanting to eat soft food like ground meat or fish. And she says she's really suspicious about getting supplements in there. So I think, yes, take her to the vet to get her heart checked out, get her mouth checked out. The cough, I mean, if she's got some rotten teeth in there, the cough could simply be due to the fact that she's swallowing basically infected grossness from around the teeth. And at this point, you kind of have to just give her what she's going to eat and then try to get a vitamin N to help kind of balance things out. So when Mary Jo's father had gotten, well, he was getting close to the time where he was dying, and I apologize if I've told you this story before, but I think it really applies here because Mona's in this position. So when Mary Jo's father was quite advanced in his age and really starting to decline mentally, the woman that had been cooking for him and things of that nature had to quit because she'd been injured. And so the ladies that were helping Frank, Mary Jo's dad, said, well, Dr. Franco, what would you like to eat? And so he thought about it for a while, and he said, pie. I want a whole refrigerator full of pie. So, you know, when our pets are this old, maybe it's pie time. You know, another friend, when her mother was dying, all she wanted was, and this is a weird combo, but peaches and heavy cling syrup, peanut butter, chocolate, and bourbon at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And when my mom was dying, all she wanted was weird, really intense proteins like steak tartare, you know, things of that nature. So if we need to just give our pets what they will eat to keep them eating, just, you know, do it. Because at this point, making sure they have a complete and balanced diet, not so important. Now, when things get better, then, yes, focus back on it. So to give you frame of reference, Mona's been, you know, 2 weeks ago, I would have told you she would have passed away by now, but she's actually improved considerably. We still have to give her fluids every day, but she's eating well and seems to feel pretty well. So she gets pie. She used to polish off Mary Jo's salad, but not anymore. She only wants the good stuff. So that's what I've got for you this week. Happy Thanksgiving to you coming up Thursday, and we will be running our Black Friday Cyber Monday sale at 25% off again if you missed it, with some great kind of add-ons. So until next week, remember, your pet's best health starts in the bowl. I'm Dr. Ruth Roberts, your pet's ally.